Hi guys, I just got back from the beach. It's about 4:30, too early for dinner, so I'm gonna make myself a snack and I'm gonna show you some of my favorite snack ideas. Okay, so my first go-to snack is always a coffee, whether it's caffeinated or decaffeinated. It totally depends on how you're feeling and what your energy levels are for the day. I'm not a huge coffee person. I get all jittery and weird if I have too much. So decaf is what I prefer, and you can have it at any time of the day. I prefer instant coffee because I can control the strength and I like the taste of it. I also just put it in a little Ziploc bag and carry it in my bag with me all the time with a keep cup. Fun fact, coffee cups are not recyclable, so to be environmentally friendly, carrying a keep cup is really good, and it's also really handy for me, just if I'm carrying coffee in my bag, just to put it in, find some boiling water, and then that's that done, and it saves money. If I'm at home, I will always add MCT oil and coconut oil, but I don't want to carry these around at work. I'll put a bit of coconut oil in a little container and take it to work sometimes, but not all the time. But I love a Bulletproof Coffee. I've always been a milk in coffee person, but now that I'm strictly black, this is awesome flavor and I don't feel like I need the milk. I thought since being back in Australia, I'd be able to find a Bulletproof Coffee in a cafe, but I've had no such luck. So gap in the market there, I guess. My next favorite snack of choice is nuts. I've got Brazil nuts here, macadamia nuts here. These two are my favorite, along with hazelnuts, which I don't have any of at the moment. Nuts such as cashews, almonds, walnuts, pine nuts, they're all really good. They're all really high in fat, but they also have a higher carb level, so I tend to stick to Brazil, macadamia, hazelnut, pecans. They're really good. The thing with nuts is they all have carbs in them, so it's really, really important that you moderate how many you have. It gets kind of annoying, but if it means counting 10 Brazil nuts for the day or like 20 macadamia nuts just to not exceed your carb limit for those nuts, then it's worth doing. When I first came back to Australia and started working in the hospital, I was packing like enough nuts for the full week. That was really dangerous though, because I wasn't moderating how many I was having, and I was eating the whole bag in like 2 days. Before I started this diet, I used to be grabbing nuts here, there, everywhere, and not actually monitoring how many I was having. And then when I was doing my research in the keto diet and nuts, I was looking at things like 10 walnuts is equivalent to 200 calories, and I was like, what? My next go-to snack is cheese. I love cheese, and I've made that so clear. But my go-to little snack are these little baby bells. They're awesome. I love Jarlsberg, really, really yummy. I'll just cut that off the block and eat it. It's absolutely delicious. Another thing, little bocconcini balls, mozzarella. We have so much mozzarella in Italy, it's awesome. So I just fish them out, ate them. Cheese is a little harder to pack, especially if you don't have access to a fridge, but yeah, you know, you just figure out what works for you. I'll sometimes snack on meats, like I get ham. With the ham, be careful when you're at the deli buying it. So I've got this one here, Don ham on the bone. That's really good, higher in fat, no carbs. But some of the other ones, like all the honey glazed ones, the champagne, I think the loin ham, they all have carbs and not enough fat for it to make it worth it. That also takes me to protein. So I use a whey protein isolate. I use my protein because it's low carb. Just make sure when you are buying protein that you do make sure it is low carb. I try and avoid using the protein powder if I can, but like, you know, when I make my keto smoothie, I need it for flavoring, or like if I just really feel like it, because to me this is like drinking a chocolate milkshake. I'll just have it. This one here is a peanut butter and chocolate, and it's so yummy. Another interesting snack that I found is drinking chicken stock in boiling water. It's like a brothy soup. It's absolutely delicious. It fills me up, and no carbs, high sodium, which is really what we want, only because we're not retaining water and therefore we're limited in electrolytes. And my final snack, which I am a bit like touch and go with, is full fat yogurt. I love yogurt, so I will have a spoonful here and there. So this one's got 12.1 grams of fat and 6.5 grams of carbs. So these are my go-to snacks. Most of them are really easy to pack. If you've got access to a fridge, awesome. I take a whole block of cheese to work and just chip it off whenever I feel like a snack. Things like coconut oil, I know the jars are fairly big, but you can get small ones. Carry it around, just add a tablespoon to your coffee here and there, and I promise you, you'll hit your fat goal for the day really easily. Since starting this diet, I'm not a huge snacker. I'm just not that hungry. There are so many calories and fats in my meals that I don't even think about food until it's about time to have another meal. Probably my first tip is don't buy the food in the first place. Don't have it in the fridge or the cupboard to get tempted when you are hungry. I remember when the craze of making little protein balls and raw vegan little cheesecakes and desserts kind of came out, and they were the healthier option. They're not really, they're all full of sugar. Yeah, they're better than a lolly and they do have some nutritional value, but they're still full of sugar and you're still gonna store that sugar as fat. I'm not a huge dessert person, but I was making these things because I'm oh, awesome, fun and healthy, except they're there, I'm gonna eat them, and I'm not gonna just stop at one, I'm probably gonna eat the whole packet. If you're still hungry after your meal, or you're hungry too soon after a meal, it generally means that you need to increase your fats. Add olive oil, add more cheese, be careful with nuts and seeds, but there are always things you can add to make the fats higher in that meal. Another thing with snacking is be prepared. Always have the right snack in your bag. I've only been in a situation once where I have not had access to anything keto friendly, and that was in my flight back from Italy to Sydney. I had a normal diet on the plane. I packed a salad, I bought a salad at the airport, but then it opened in my bag and I lost the whole thing. I had nothing to eat. I was so hungry. I had genuine hunger pains. I was really hungry, so I ended up eating my plain food, but it was so disheartening, and yeah, next time I've learned I will come more prepared. Next, I'm gonna talk about supplements. From the food that I'm eating, I generally get all the nutrients I need, all the vitamins and minerals. I find the only mineral that I don't get enough of is magnesium. I kind of started going to bed and feeling giddy in the legs and feeling aches and pains. This is a sign of magnesium deficiency. You can get magnesium from certain nuts and leafy greens and avocado, except just not enough. What I found was most of the vegetables and foods which are high in magnesium are also really high in carb. I've touched on this a couple of times, but it's really important that I have enough sodium in my diet to increase my electrolytes, and I also have a higher intake of water. I drink lots of water. I had quite a few people ask me what their calorie goal for the day should be. I'm not going to say to somebody it should be this number, because it's different for everybody depending on weight, height, and goal. Mine at the moment is 2,000. I let it go over, but I also train really hard. I burn a lot of calories when I work out, so therefore it gives me a bit of leeway to eat a little bit more. You do have to be mindful that with a high-fat diet, the items and ingredients you are having are generally higher in calorie. I think 1 tablespoon of coconut oil is 120 calories. What I will say though is if you're gonna start this diet and you're gonna increase your fats as much as I have, between 75% and 85%, you can't have carbs and fat. Otherwise you're just gonna get fat. And that is why it is so important to track everything. You could be eating something that you didn't realize had any carbs. For example, I was eating loads of tomato and capsicum, and then I put them in my fitness pal and they're really carb dense. So yeah, I've said it quite a few times, you need to track your macros. Your macros being your fats, your proteins, and your carbs. If you aren't tracking what you're eating and you don't know what is in your food, you're just going to gain weight and you're not going to get any results. Anyway, that is me done for this vlog. Sorry if I've waffled, but I hope I've answered a few questions, because I'm generally getting the same questions almost every day, and I hope I addressed some of them, and I'll see you next time.